amazing costume designer. Her name is Ayana James, and she is super, super dope. Like, she styles, and we brought her on to design the show, and she's really great about just her eye and trying to find young fashion designers of color and paying attention to detail. And she's just dope herself. Like, if you look her up, that's Ayana J on Instagram. She's legit. And she's Jamaican, which she needs me to rep. She constantly repping Jamaica, so.
That's what's up. So do you have like, I know you have several social sites. Do you have a blog where you discuss like fashion tips and stuff? Am I the only one on you hard like this about fashion, or is that a question that everybody, is me? Oh, okay. How y'all feel about her fashion? Y'all love it, don't you? Oh, okay. So I'm not alone. Great, great, great. Thank you. I'm feeling real echoey right now.
Is this work? Y'all can hear me? Oh, okay.
I'm already trying to not do too much. Okay, so you often talk about your hair. Have you always been natural?
I have, for most of my life. There was a period when I was in, I want to say I moved to LA from Maryland. I moved back to LA, and everybody had, you know, their hair permed or pressed, and they were, you know, like making fun of me for having natural hair. And I remember begging my mom, like, Mom, everybody in LA, their hair is like laid, and I want my hair to be laid too. And my mom was like, you can't, no, that's not your hair, it won't do that, it won't sustain it. I was like, Mom, I'm a grown woman at 12, and I want a perm. And she was like, you're not getting one. So I got one anyway, and of course, no, I went to go, you know, get one with my friends. And of course, you know, my hair fell out. And I couldn't cry to my mom. My mom was like, I told you, bald-headed ass. Where'd she get it? And so from that moment on, like, it's definitely been like a journey to appreciate and love my natural hair. But this is, you know, for the most part, I've always been natural.
I can so relate. I'm a cosmetologist by trade. I've been a cosmetologist for 20 years. So I remember trying to like cut my bang and it'd be like right here. I remember begging for a Jerry curl, like really, really hard. And like,
did you get one? You had a Jerry curl?
Yes. What?
Was it
was
super
like
juicy?
real like juicy and stuff. And because it was so juicy, it like grew real long. And then when I got it relaxed, it fell out, and it's been a journey ever since.
Dang.
Was that your first step towards awkwardness? Your hair?
I'm pretty sure that was definitely part of it. Just not feeling like I fit in just because of the way that my hair was. And my mom and my aunt's hair, it was so beautiful to me. My mom had every style in the book, and I wanted to be able to do that too. And I just felt so limited. And so after a while, I was like, oh, this is my hair. This is how it grows out my head. And, you know, it's just as beautiful, and it's so versatile in a way that a lot of hairstyles aren't, a lot of different hair types aren't. So embrace it.
That's why I got like braided up for you, because I see you be rocking this. So I just wanted to.
I see it.
Salute you.
Your hair is beautiful.
How do you feel about the way Black women are represented in the and through the media with their hair, like shows like Love and Hip Hop and stuff like that? Well, let me rephrase that. You've been natural all your life and it wasn't always popping, and now it's like a fad, right? And so I often get into conversations with people that are relaxed, that's like, natural people think they're better than them and stuff like that. And so we have shows like Love and Hip Hop that celebrate women that maybe are not natural. Do you think that we need more shows on television that celebrate women in their naturalness?
I mean, I think that when I think about Love and Hip Hop, the first thing that I think about is not necessarily their hair. I'm just like, oh, this is like fashion television.
Yeah.
And it's,
You know, I didn't want to say
for stuff. I mean, it is. Like, as being an original Love and Hip Hop fan, like, that was where I went to in terms of, you know, like wanting to turn my mind off and laugh and be immersed in a specific type of show. And when it was unscripted to me, that's when I was most interested. That just became like scripted trash. And I was like, I don't want my trash.
I really wanted to act it to you in a more ratchet kind of way, but I was like, maybe not want to put nothing on black.
Well, no, I think for me, like those shows have the right to exist, but for me, I was always just frustrated by the fact that there wasn't a balance. So when you have worldwide people watching those types of shows and seeing the depiction of black women on those shows, they assume that all black women are like that. And even within those shows, there are some black women in those shows who have different aspects of their lives where, you know, they're giving back or they're doing positive things, but they're not portrayed. And so for me, it was always like, in the same way that white media has like terrible trash reality shows, they have, you know, amazing scripted shows, and I felt like we needed the same type of balance.
Yes. And
it's not a matter of like penalizing one show and saying one show is better than me. And black women specifically.
yes, that was a question, so we'll bypass that. Because it's one. You have a lot of recognition outside of the U.S. and talking about how we are represented as black people. What do you think our responsibility is globally, as far as what we set out through the media? Because in other countries, I went to Ghana. Central sent me to Ghana in the summertime. Yay, Central. And something that a person told me was like, it was a guy, he said, when I'm in Ghana, I'm a Ghanaian man. But when I leave Ghana, I am a black man. And I'm treated as a black man because of what y'all put out. He didn't say y'all, I say y'all. But I'm treated as a black man based on what y'all put out to the media. And he was like, it's not fair. So, being African descent and having a show that's been well received internationally, do you feel that we should hold ourselves more accountable for not what we're only doing to ourselves, what we're doing to our brothers and sisters that are brown skinned?
I guess I would ask who's doing it, you know, because I think we've been creating great representations of our own selves for a while, for a very long time, and especially like on the internet, you find so many people of color creating shows that show different facets of black life, that show different facets of African American life and Afro-Caribbean life, and it's just a matter of conglomerates and, you know, executives, mainstream media executives, not thinking those shows have a proper audience and wanting to depict the same type of black experience over and over again. And sometimes that experience is violent, sometimes that experience is stereotypically, you know, hood to a degree. And again, those are valid experiences, but they're not the only and sole experience. And I think now I remain like optimistic, or I am more optimistic, because you have more executives and people of color and women getting into these positions of power, and you have audiences that are super vocal via social media that are like, I don't want to see this, I want to see this, and where is this, and where is this, and they're supporting the content that they want to see. And so I would argue that it's the audience that has been dictating what they want to see, and now mainstream media is catching up. They're like, oh snap, like people want to see a horror film about racism and Get Out, and it's successful, now it's going internationally. They're like, oh, black women leads, like black women about like NASA, that sells, that's an international thing, that's crazy, we should make more. And so they're just catching on to us, but we've been known for a while that we sell and that we're multifaceted. And so I think the international image of us will catch up,
Like everything else.
like everything else has.
Cool. I saw an interview with Conan O'Brien that your favorite comedians are Seinfeld and Larry David. Am I correct in saying that?
I loved Seinfeld and Larry David's Curb Your Enthusiasm. I remember watching those shows and relating to that sense of humor and just being like, but where are the blacks? Like, I know that we find this stuff funny too, and I know people like this, and I know friends like this, and I wanted to just see a representation of, you know, black people within that same vein. But I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm so happy it's coming back.
That's how I felt watching it, like episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh man.
Like, I love
They
love
make
it.
the very specific moments that we all go through and just amplify it in a way. And I've always, you know, like even in doing my web series, Awkward Black Girl, it was like, I remember thinking about these small moments that I'd have at work and being in the hallway and not wanting to run into the same person.
That was hilarious.
It's just, and that's a real thing, and I still struggle with that. You think?
Yeah, just the other day I was in the mall like, oh my God, I do not want to speak to her. Why do I see her every time I'm in the mall? So when I saw that, I was like,
it's a real
And then you
feeling.
was like, oh.
And then you think, you pretend, hey girl, I didn't even see you. It's so good to see you.
That was so real. What advice can you give to mass comm, or any students, but mass comm students in particular, who's trying to find ways to monetize off their creativity? I know a lot of times I hear people in that field that's been in the field for a long time tell us that we need to start at the bottom and work our way up. And I'm kind of like, why can't we create, something that we think is great and stay true to it? And if it's something that people like, they come. Because if we stay in the field thinking maybe we'll get a raise, maybe we'll get a promotion, like what if that doesn't happen? So do you have any advice for students that's wondering, should they try a web series?
Yeah, I think if you're asking, should you do it? I mean, you need to do it. Like, you have all the tools. Like, now there's kind of no excuse not to create. Even managers, agents, people who are in these fields looking for talent, writers specifically, where in the past they would be like, oh yeah, let's send a script, or write a spec, which is, for those who don't know, a spec script is like, a sample of a show. Like, write your spec for A Different World or Scandal and send that in, and then determine if you're talented. And now, to get represented or to get into the room, they're like, where's your content at online? Like, where can we see your work? Because you can create work on your iPhone. You can make something happen from the ground up. You can be a writer and find an actor and a director and just make something. And it's up to you, how good it is and how defined it is. And if data has really leveled the playing field in terms of giving everybody a chance to be able to have a voice and kind of prove themselves. So I think starting from the bottom is just that. Like, everybody's starting from the same spot, and it's just a matter of, are you willing to be consistent? Are you willing to produce constantly? And are you willing to be patient when that first time may not work out? Like, is this what you really want to do? If you think your project, I remember so many times thinking like, oh, this project, this is about to be it. This is on. I'm about to be all in with this, and then finding out like, oh, nobody's watching, no, nobody likes it. Okay, that's fine. And then constantly creating and not being afraid to venture out different ideas. And I also remember, like, I have a cautionary tale of a girl that I know who's super, super talented. I've known her for about 10 years now, or no, like 13 years. 13 years she's had the same project and the same idea, and it's transitioned from being a play to then a novel to then, okay, a novel didn't work, maybe a film, and then maybe it could be a web series, and it's always the same idea. And I'm always like, to me, you can't hold on to one idea. You can't be afraid to try something new, and you can't be afraid to be like, you can't question whether or not, like, is this the only thing I have to offer? This is my only idea. I'm gonna make it work at all costs. You can always put something to the side and come back to it and create something new. But don't be afraid to try, at least try new things. I live life. I get a lot of inspiration from just like being out and being around people. I'm a big people watcher, and I love like social interactions and talking to people and learning about people, and that's where I get a lot of, I'm big on like observational humor.
So do you have like a place in your phone where like after you have an observation, you like, I'm gonna go back to that later and write about that?
All right, I say my memory is pretty petty, so like I can definitely dig into the ranks and be like, okay, I'm gonna remember that. It's gonna be in something. It's gonna be in an episode of something. But I write a lot, so like I journal, and if I have an idea, I will write it down on my phone, or I'll write it down in my journal that evening.
Word. Okay, so you're a graduate of Stanford University. Do you think that where you graduated from has afforded you to get into certain spaces that other people may not? Because there's some people that think that if they don't go to college here, that they may not be able to make it there.
Right.
Do you believe that that's the case?
I don't. I think if anything, Stanford in corporate spaces when I was getting a job or looking for a job, it afforded me the benefit of the doubt. Like they were like, oh, you might be smart or you might be capable because you went to this particular school. But in the entertainment industry, no. I remember looking for a job in a nonprofit theater and on like submitting my resume and of course my school's listed and just being told straight up like that doesn't matter here, you know, nobody cares, you still have to start off. It doesn't determine your talent at the end of the day, and that's kind of like what I like about the entertainment industry and again the internet, that the playing field is level. Like it really just for the most part depends on talent and consistency more than anything else. I talk about this, there's this stupid Twitter feed that every day at the same time it posts this picture of Adam Sandler going like this. Every day, I think like at 12 o'clock, and it has like, when I looked at it like 6 months ago, it had like 16,000 followers. Because people are like, I know when I go to this page, I'm gonna see what I need to see, you know? It's consistent, and to that degree, like people on the internet like look for consistency. They want to know that you're gonna put out a video every Monday at 10 o'clock. They want to know that you're just you're there and you're serious about your work, and that they can follow you loyally and faithfully.
Cool. So I've been researching you, girl. So Girlfriends and Living Single were like your favorite shows growing up?
I loved shows from the 90s period. I would say, I mean, yeah, Different World was definitely a huge thing. We had a debate in the writer's room. That's why I posted those particular shows, just about which kind of influenced Insecure the most. But I love Girlfriends, I love Living Single, I love Martin, Fresh Prince. All those shows had such diverse representations of blackness that made me want to get into TV. Moesha was one of the first shows I remember, just about like a regular black girl in high school, like doing her thing, and I feel like it was so underrated just in terms of kind of regular blackness. Like I knew a Moesha, you know, I could have been a Moesha, except I didn't have a Q in my life.
That is so funny. So let's get into your show and your love interest, Lawrence, who is so fine. Okay, let's give it up to Lawrence. We want Lawrence to get a job. We do. The one that he's happy at. How much do you think, well, first of all, do you think that as women we give men long enough to get on their feet?
That's a loaded question.
Well, just like pick a piece of it.
I think it depends on the situation, to be honest. I think it depends on whether or not you're an ancient man or an ancient woman. Like, at the end of the day, it just depends on your relationship. I think in that particular situation on the show, there were levels to it. Like, she had been with him for 5 years. He had been unemployed for 4 of those years. 4 of those years he was trying to get his app off the ground, and then he was on the couch for 2 years. But, you know, and on her side, she had given up in a way, and she was putting a lot of the blame on him and making excuses for why she wasn't actively doing what she wanted to do. And I think at the bottom line was they needed to communicate with one another and be transparent with one another. And the relationships like that are real.
Yes, they are. You're using him as his field was technology. And like I was telling you backstage, I'm an intern for a black tech firm located downtown Durham on Black Wall Street. Is that strategic? Now, this is my 42-year-old self asking that. Did you just like pick it because like there's a virtual world out here? Or strategically, did you want to shine a light on the technology field? Because as an intern there, we only make up like 2% of the field, but we spend the most money on technology. Was that just happenstance, or?
I think it was a little of both. Like, we just wanted to depict, you know, real life people that we knew and that I knew specifically, and I know a lot of, my friends who work in tech, and, Stanford was based in Palo Alto, which is a huge hub of Silicon Valley, obviously, and as a result, I knew a lot of young black men who are working in those fields, not necessarily in even the development side or the programming side, but on the business side. And so with him, we knew that we wanted to have his interest be in technology, and yeah, you don't really get to see black men in tech, which is something that we also are exploring in season 2.
Well, let Lawrence know that we will hire him at Lion and y'all could get married and have a lot of babies because, we make apps and stuff, and we want to see
You broke up with Issa at the end of it.
I know, but I feel like y'all gonna get back together. Men are not as petty as women.
What are you? What?
I don't think so, right? I don't think men expect. A lot of men, look, 10 years, I don't know, I'm 10 years older. Are men more petty than women? Oh man, no. The men my age are not as petty, so I don't know. Y'all need some more mentors in y'all life. Calling on mentors of men 40 and up. 30-year-old men need mentors for you. Okay, so, do you think because you were approaching 30, it made you start to really nitpick at him? Or you had been feeling like that along the way?
You're obviously Team Lawrence, which is fine.
I'm so Team Lawrence. He's so fine. Sometimes you can overlook it though when they be real fine, and then you wake up 5 years later and he's just not as fine as he was. Real fine can last 5 years though, real easy.
Your question was she nitpicking?
Yeah, when you was turning 30, did you just start
I think that was it. I think she wanted to, she was turning 29. She was like, I am not where I want to be in my life. I'm not happy with my job. I'm not happy with my relationship. And I want to be active. I want to take life by the balls. And I will do that at all costs. And I think in the series, we explored the consequences of our actions, just in terms of, not necessarily thinking things through, being this insecure person and wanting to live her best life, but not necessarily thinking about what that meant for the others around her.
And I admire that because with the years difference, growing up, I would not have taken those type of chances. So being back on campus, at 42, with people saying you're gonna leave your husband and your kids to follow your dream, they think that that's crazy. But y'all will say, I won't even get married and have kids before I let somebody stop me. You get what I'm saying? And y'all are fine with that. And that's something that we don't get to talk about. So when you're saying insecure, it may differ from generation to generation, but I so see the mirror of my life in you, even as a, you don't want me to say your age aloud.
Oh, wow.
Okay, are you 32 or something?
I'm 32, yeah.
Okay, so we're 10 years different.
Right.
So for me to be an older woman, I still see so much of myself in you as a woman that was not able to voice how I felt. In the world that expected me to be married at 30 and be this perfect wife and lie at all costs, but say I don't. Y'all be like, bitch, I'm sorry. Y'all be like, girl, you lying. And you be like, yeah, I do be lying. My age be like, we don't lie. I'm not lying. I know you caught me in a lie, but that's not really a lie. So I admire how you and your friends be, because we be acting like we don't be lying. Yeah. So I don't even know what question that was, but it just felt good to say that aloud. Okay. What's your truth? Look, you see how I'm sitting? Because I really wanted to ask you this. I wanted to know, what is Issa Rae's truth? I see you look in the mirror and you be rapping and stuff, right? Y'all like that, right? But I wanted to know, what's Issa Rae's truth to herself that is not a rap but written, because I know you're a poet. Now, before you answer that, well, you're right, you're a writer. You write in a journal too, right?
Yeah.
And those to me are the things that the most deepest, maybe. Am I reading too much? Okay, so do you have a best line you've ever written? One that if you said it aloud, you kind of don't want to tell people, because if they don't feel you, you might want to disown your race, because it's so deep to you. I'm a writer. I'm being dramatic now. I'm a writer, so I have things that are really personal to me that I really would want to share to the world, but if nobody get it, I'm going to be really upset. Do you have something like that?
I don't. I don't really consider myself a poet rapper.
I'm too deep.
But I'm not as deep as you. I wish.
I'm really, if you was in my class, you would see I'm real emotional.
Real life like bars. Like for me, things come in the moment, and like even on the show, I feel like Issa's raps are like low-key trash. High-key trash. But it's fun to write because it really just is her being like her rawest, most emotional, angry, or happy state. And for me, those moments in the mirror are for her to actually be her truest self and to be like, you know, she can't be honest with anybody else. Like, she's the most honest and the most vulnerable when she's in that bathroom mirror. And I feel like that's kind of true to life with, you know, like human beings, myself in general. Like my best ideas come in the bathroom. When you're looking at yourself in the mirror before you take a shower naked, just me. But that's like you. That's like you. That's who you are
in the mirror before they take a shower, butt naked.
I dance
You
in
do?
the
You
mirror.
dance
I
too?
always play music, and it's just like, this is me. You know, this is me at my rawest form, and this is me. There's no devices in the bathroom with you. There's nobody else. It's just you with your thoughts, and that's who you are. So that device in the show is her being her truest, most authentic self.
That's dope. You have a favorite, your broken pussy. So I would have been mad at you though, like your friend was mad. I would have been really mad. Because y'all had just talked about it this big and stuff. Like kind of she real sensitive.
Yeah, that was based off of like real conversation with my actual best friend. That me and my friends, we talk in our like broken pussy voices. I mentioned this on phone where we would like be like, girl, if a dude trying to step to me, and my pussy was like, no, thank you. And then like conversely, if a dude like can't correct, then we'd be like, girl, he can't correct, and my pussy was like, And I remember talking to Larry Wilmore, who helped develop the pilot with me and co-created the show, and I remember telling him that he was like, whatever the fuck that is, that's going in the show. My friend at the time, like she was just going through things with guys. She always does this thing where it's like dudes think that she wants to be in a relationship with them immediately. Like she could say hi and they'd be like, whoa, come, I don't want to get married. That's just her life. I told her her pussy was broken at the end of the day.
That's kind of like a 20-year-old. We be thinking they be ready because we be smelling them. Be like, oh, hi, husband. All my life I've been looking for. Yeah, we might have passed that down a little bit.
But I mean, it's a real, like, I guess dudes can smell when you, like, ready. But I don't know if there's like a sixth sense. Or there's just a lot of like, dudes out there. You can smell desperation.